All right, Humic. So we're going into this year, and we've partnered with Real World in regards to the wildlife management side of things. Ben and I farm for a living. I farm. Well, actually, we both farm in Kansas. We farm in completely different regions of Kansas. Ben farms in the western. I farm more in the eastern. And anyway, Ben is my crop mentor. Ben and I have been working together for 5 years, I believe it is. I think something like that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Never fails. Anyway, but
Yeah, I've taught you some things. You've taught me to be more patient.
it's been a great trade.
I was told by one of my mentors that you'll have to repeat it at least 6 to 7 times, and then it will only stick if it comes from them. And I realized
Have I
that,
proved
Josh,
that to be true?
no, it's about 10 times too low.
Okay.
That it's actually about 600 times. No, not really.
We're
It's
getting
been
there.
good.
I'm getting there. But we want to talk about Humic. We wanted to go to ground zero on what is Humic, how do we use Humic, how are we using Humic on our farming applications on our row crop farms, and then I'm using them. I have been using them on my food plots, and to really what does that produce, and what is my long term vision for that. It's the same concept as what we're doing in agriculture, just moved to the wildlife side with a little bit different end goal. I'm not harvesting my food plots. I'm hoping to harvest a target deer off of my food plots, or just supply better food for my deer herds, whether I have a target buck or not. Anyway, so what is Humic? Ben, I know what Humic is, but I want you've got much more experience, longer experience than me in regards to what Humic is. So just give us a quick rundown on what is it.
So Humate is the drive version that we at Singular carry or mess with. It's primarily comes from coal mines. It's ancient decayed plant material. This stuff naturally formations. They're beds side by coal. It's actually ranked as called low rank coal. So it doesn't
Young
yield
coal.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't yield well in the BTUs. So it doesn't burn the best. So low rank coal found side by side, it actually forms naturally in soil anyway. You can actually get a humic or a fulvic test that's actually done in the ag space. So that's found there, mined. There's all sorts of different qualities and stuff like that, but we're not going to really get into that.
I want to touch on it just a
Okay.
little bit though, because there's a lot of humics out there pulled from a lot of different regions, and knowing your grade is very important. And someone might be able to, like on the ag side of things, people come to us and be like, well, I found one that's cheaper, and ask them what's the concentration of humic. And
Right.
they're like, well, if they know, a lot of them don't know. And that's what we're trying to do, is just educate. No matter what, we want to educate. On our job as farmers, and now, we want to do a special one for the wildlife, the land manager, the food plot guys and gals.
Right.
And that's our job, and what we do is to make sure that we're sourcing the quality products. And it's what we founded this whole movement for, is if we find something better, we'll go to it. Because our mission in agriculture is serving the farmer first, and we're just taking this via Real World into the food plot side. I've got a good relationship with Real World, and everyone that's there have been good to me over the years, and just wanted to work with them. Like, hey, we got a really great, this is what we're doing here. Do you think it has a fit in the wildlife side? And Don and I talked and worked over the course of a year, and anyway, on it, him using it, working with it, learning about it, and we decided to pursue this avenue, the land manager. But so making sure you know what you're getting is very important.
Right. The humic is not rare. It's not rare by any means.
Right. This is not a new technology.
No, it is not. It is actually, if you know how many coal mines there are, there's probably resaged peat veins, which is what not humates come from. There's different grades, as you mentioned. As you move south, they classify them differently. As you get more than northern U.S., they're Leonardite mines. They're different formations, different qualities. And then you get way north, you get into Humulite, and they're found throughout the whole world. So anyway, that's as far as humates go. So we have got a partner that we work with, and they've tested throughout the world and found these mines that we work with, and they are some of the highest grade, lowest toxicity mines or heavy metal loads in agriculture are a big deal. Crops. Nutrient availability is greatly influenced by the imbalance of nutrition in a soil profile. So what you apply makes a big difference. And if your humate or whatever you're applying, your holding capacity stuff is already toxified, it's going to hinder that ability and efficiency. So,
Yeah, in farming, we call it CEC, cationic exchange capacity,
correct.
which is your ability to hold nutrients, water in your soil.
It's a grade card for soils or like,
Yeah, it is a great card
it's a grade card
for max what its potential is.
Yeah.
Maximizing the soil potential. If you got a low CEC, you're going to struggle. You got a high CEC, you're still going to struggle.
Yeah.
But
there's a science and there's a sweet spot.
Yeah. We're not going to go into that. We don't have time for it. We put out a lot of other information regarding that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Humics, what is Humic? It comes in granule, and people ask, what is it? And it looks like, I would say, fertilizer. If you go and pick up a bag of 1152 or 1846 or even a bag of urea, it looks like the granules. It's the same size.
Yeah, it's really gritty and stuff like that. We know for sure that the ones that we actually mine from in the north are ferns. As they're being pulled out, you can actually see sometimes tree fern, like an initial start popping up before it crumbles.
Yep.
So you'll see tree formations and things like that in there. It's quite interesting, but it's decayed organic material. If you start at the top organic material and then you break down over time through biological processes, you'll get to organic matter, which a lot of people know, which is essentially the ultimate health factor, how efficient, how productive soil can be is organic matter is the deal. After that, you get even further, then you turn into human and humics and fulvics and things like that. That's a whole carbon family underneath that. So I was going somewhere with that, but I can't remember what it was.
Oh, it was good. It was good.
So that's basically the decay and how it happens, but humics and fulvics naturally.
It's not fertilizer.
No, it's not. It's black-ish.
It is, yes.
You can get blacker stuff. You can get more brown. Ours is a nice golden molasses colored type deal, but it's all a matter of organic material and the purity in the product that makes that difference. And in oxidation.
And it's not biochar, because that's one of the other things that's got a lot of hype is biochar.
Yes. So
biochar is man-made.
It is. It's a carbon class product. If you look at biochar, humics, humates, fulvics, these are all carbon products. We're not talking carbon like sequestration type carbon stuff. We're talking like actual applications of carbons.
Yeah, a physical thing
that
we put on the ground.
Your biology and everything consume on carbon. Now, carbohydrate is a little bit different than that, but it's an extra
Don't go too deep.
But so anyway, for people who are looking, it's part of the whole process. Carbon is key in biology, which is also key in nutrition efficiency.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you want to ask another question before I go into the whole plant correlation.
Yeah, I do. Well, I wanted to say, how does it work? So that's we've gone over what is Humic. We went over where it's kind of general overview of its history. If someone comes to you and says this is a new, latest, and greatest thing, like I said, it's not. It's an old technology. I mean, shoot, man, ancient civilizations were dealing with carbons and improving soils with carbons.
There's very little people who think or do not know that you burn a fire pit and you dump your fire pit in your garden.
Right.
And so there's it's not new.
Right.
A lot of people understand that.
Sure. Volcanic soils are generally very good soils.
After the initial
Yes.
recolonization.
Yes.
Yeah.
And restructuring of soil.
Yeah.
But alas, we digress. But I wanted to touch on how does it work per se in your soil from kind of a 30,000 foot view. Say, okay, I've got humic. We dry spread it. You run it through your air drills. I run it through a spinner spreader. I hired a friend of mine to apply some for me. And my food plots, I've just got I don't know, I don't know the size of it's a couple cubic foot. I'm not sure what cubic size foot, but your food plot seed spreader, your larger ones. I dump it in just like I treat it just like fertilizer in my applications, but with a different mindset than fertilizer. Fertilizer is to feed the plant, but the carbon side, humic, is to more improve your soil microbial activity, improve your soil structure. Um, it helps with excess water, compaction in your soil. I tell guys, I said, think of it like a home. If you got a whole lot of workers and no place for them to live and reside, you're going to have chaos. You're not going to have efficiency. If you give everyone a home, you give them what they need, you're going to have a very efficient workforce. And it's essentially how microbes in soil work. I mean, there are more soil microbes in one spoon of dirt than there are people on Earth. And so this is a very, very vast world,
Right.
and there's a lot of people trying to improve this micro level, and we're trying to improve on the macro level. But anyway, the carbon is the home for the workers. It is organic matter. And that's the base, guys. Like,
Yeah.
what is it? It's organic matter that we can apply.
Carbon is more of the, home for nutrition. So it's more the sponge in the soil structure. So any new farm that we apply on the surface and then not work in, and that first, foot or two, inch or two, you can take after the season's over and grab it, squeeze it, and just compact as much as possible. Open your hand, and it's like moon dough or moon sand.
Yeah.
It just literally just almost falls apart. You can pack it as hard as you want, it just falls back apart. That's soil structure, that's soil aggregates and things like that coming back in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a major component that makes soil actually more resilient to environmental hazards or whatever.
Sure.
So
Yeah. In regard to soil structure, one of the other examples that we use is if we had a cylinder, say in the middle of this table, and we filled it full of sand, and we dumped, and say the bottom was cut off the cylinder, or wasn't there to begin with. Pour water in. It's going to take time for that water to work its way through. You can get to a point where it is so saturated, it's still trying to get through. It doesn't matter. I mean, you can plug it. I mean, you can just drown this thing with water, and it can only go out so fast. And then say you put a bunch of square cubes in there, you just drop them in. They're all staggered, and whatever you pour water, it's going to fall through much more rapidly. And we talk a lot about water in the agricultural side. Too much water is a problem. Too little water is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So how can we find this happy median of being efficient with our water and our soils and food plots? I mean, a lot of guys have dealt with drought the last couple of years. If you put humic on and you plant your food plots and you get a little tiny rain, it's not going to save you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is not a saving product. This is a step. It's a step program where, like you said, helping your soil structure,
mm-hmm.
helping your microbes. It's kind of like the two cylinders. It's water going through a bunch of cubes is going to fall much more rapidly and be much more efficient than a cylinder full of sand.
It's a major factor in soil health. And soil health is there's a lot of talk about soil health right now. What does that mean?
Right.
Well, if you're probably the layman's way to put it is soil health, the healthier your soil, the larger the buffer for anything.
Mm.
So you have a higher buffer for fertility in ag. You have a higher buffer for drought tolerance. You have a higher buffer for heat, cold. I've actually, this is almost a little bit, but off top, but still same thing. I've seen tests done on frost damage, early freezes in the fall or
Yeah.
late freezes in the spring, that healthy soils will actually tolerate the frost better.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, that's a nutrition thing is what it
Yes.
is. So, I mean,
It's a big deal in our corn when
right.
we're, if the ground's thawing out and days are just getting warm enough to plant and we're out there planting. It happens.
Yeah.
Or wheat's same thing out here in the West.
Yeah.
It buys you a few degrees,
It does.
and sometimes a few degrees is all you need.
Right. So, I mean, you wanted to talk about nutrition densities and things
Yes.
like that. So,
How does this translate into the feed side?
right. So, nutrition density is a major thing in feed quality. And so we know from frost tests and stuff that the nutritions are becoming more balanced. So when something freezes, the cell wall ruptures.
Yeah.
And that's why you get this mushy decaying thing is all the chlorophyll and everything ruptures and you have this major bleed out and it's done.
Oftentimes in the wildlife side, you get a freeze and you'll see deer hit something very rapidly, very quickly, and then they're done. They won't touch it.
Yeah. And so the cell has more tolerance. Well, that's a nutrition thing.
Mhm.
So certain minerals create more cell elasticity. There's a limit.
Yeah.
But it makes it more elastic, and then therefore you have more, or frost tolerance and things like that.
Yeah.
So, but as far as nutrition density, and particularly like animal health, we can look at things such as human health and things that are done in the medical side. This is actually one of the ways we've got into this so hardcore about human and animal health within nutrient density in plants. And we talk about this on a regular podcast, but they did some tests in wheat from 2012 and 1912. And at a 100-year span, nutrition density in wheat has dropped 75%. Up until very recently, there hasn't been a GMO wheat. Wheat is still very much just hybrids, just crossbreeding selections. That's it. So we can't blame genetics, things like that. But the thing that has decayed is soil health.
Yeah.
So what's that matter? Well, what matters is as a human, you have an entire desire to crave in nutrients. You need minerals and things like that. Carbohydrates and fats and proteins are beside the fact. It's the minerals that take for the body to process all these things. So as densities go down, you then feed more to get the nutrients you need. There's a large study done where they actually view most obesity as based off of nutrient deficiencies.
Right.
That's why the vitamin market is taken
so
off.
much
To get the nutrients.
to desire or to fulfill that hungry feeling.
Right.
Yes.
So you then become lethargic because you're eating, obese, things like that start becoming this big issue. So why does this all pertain to humic? Well, humic is a natural soil enhancement product.
Yeah.
So we're adding and making our soil healthy. Now, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes multiple years. And it takes a lot. We know a toxicity rate, but we can talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
But essentially, healthier soil, healthier dense plants, healthier humans, animals, deer, whatever.
Yes. The healthier the animal, on the deer side, if you say you're in beef cattle, the better gains you're going to have.
Right.
The better meat structure. And then in the deer side, you're going to have better lactation in your does. You're going to have healthier fawns. You're going to have better reproduction rates. Same with cattle. A healthy mama cow will breed back much faster than an unhealthy.
Right.
And better antler better antler quality. I'm not going to tell you I'm not going to tell a food plot guy your antlers are going to get bigger, but you give better. It's just basic common sense. You give better food to something.
Bodily stresses affect performance of
Absolutely.
anything. So
Absolutely.
Not talking athletic performance. We're just talking overall health performance.
Yeah.
So gut biome is directly related to that. And a lot of these are gut biome related.
Yes.
Selenium is one that disappears in drought conditions. Calcium is another. So you don't uptake very well. Better soil health, the more gets in.
Mm.
So you have that tolerance.
Yep.
So selenium is another one that's major in beef cattle in
Yes.
drought years.
And deer, actually.
Yes. So healthier plants, you keep things open and things then do, what am I trying to say here?
Well, in animals, I think it's called vascular respiration.
Right.
Plants do the same thing.
Yes.
Plants, is it respire?
Perspire.
Perspire.
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, it's all correlated together. Healthy soil, healthy plant, healthy animal, healthier people. All these things, all the way up the food chain, like right here on our deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that cool printout Tim did for us.
You're right.
Yep.
So it's just all correlates. Now the biomes are very, very similar. So, but that's a topic that can take over an hour very easy.
Oh, yeah, very much so. I wanted this to be, this in our normal podcast, but I wanted to have the 30,000 foot view and then a little bit more into the, the details of things. Humic is OMRI listed.
Yep.
It is an organic use product. So for guys that are wondering about that, we work with a lot of organic farmers that use Humics.
Mm-hmm.
And the more the more balanced you can make your soils, the healthier you can make your soils, the less in our lives and our occupations, the less fertilizer we have to use. We're seeing a decrease.
It's a natural formation product.
Yeah.
And there's nothing artificial that we do to it. The process of mining to the field, that whole transition, is literally dig it out, size it, and bag it, ship it, apply it. That's it. So it's a really, really basic deal. I'm a commercial grower. You're a commercial grower. We use this stuff like crazy because it works really well.
Yeah.
But it is totally a natural thing. It does follow under OMRI. It does follow after on the regen and sustainable side. So it's just a great all-around product that's a complete natural formation.
It is. And it's not a get rich quick.
No.
People want to throw something out there and see this immediate response. And you have to get into a mindset of soils were degraded over a long period of time. We are not going to fix it with one application of something. If someone tells you can, they're full of it.
Yeah.
It's not possible. If so, every farmer out there would be just set. We would be applying this so much, and we would all retire in a couple of years.
The easiest way to explain this is essentially, how I started out the scale of degradation, breakdown all the way down. It takes microbials to do that.
Yes.
So you put a lot of the bottom in there. There's not any population supporting near as much as you've applied. So it takes time to build that back.
Yeah.
And then the system reboots up and goes back up, and then away you go.
It's really interesting how many people think that a granule I've got a bottle cap here. Say this is a granule of fertilizer. Obviously, is much smaller, but we apply that. It goes into your soil, and the plant root grows, and it goes over and hits that and goes, yes, we've got food. That is not.
It is very much the way everybody believes. Soil is this inert holding unit. Yes. It just holds a plant. It holds water.
It's a refrigerator.
Holds nutrition. Yeah, it is. And it is very much a living, breathing thing.
Yeah.
And that's where it differentiates. It's less than 10 or 15% of total nutrition absorption is done via contact. Everything else is done via the biological network.
Microbial activity.
Yep.
So you can put, if you've got a low microbial activity in your soil and you apply massive amounts of fertilizer, it
literally relies
you only
on
have
the
so
contact.
many workers.
Yep.
And so what happens actually with fertility is plants send out signals through their roots, through the root system saying, I need nitrogen, potassium, manganese,
It'd be
zinc.
it's like handing you a pop. Mm-hmm. Oh, we got Aaron here.
Yes.
he likes Diet
Pepsi.
Pepsi. You like root beer.
Yes.
I like Dr. Pepper.
Mhm.
So essentially, you're a phosphorus microbe. He's a potassium, and I'm a nitrogen. So I want nitrogen. I set a Dr. Pepper on the table. I want phosphorus. I set root beer, potassium, Diet Pepsi. That's the same idea. It's not like communication like, hey, Josh, go get me some phos.
Mhm.
It's more of you carry phos and break down phosphorus naturally through your enzymes, which is just micro poop.
Yep. That's
Call
what
it
it is.
that. So, and I need it, so I'm going to draw you in because
Yes.
that's what I need. That's the way the communications work.
Between plants' fertility and soil microbes. Microbes are your workers.
That is an extradate. So
Yeah.
think of a pop as an extradate. So it is literally like that.
They're trading.
It is sugar.
It's a barter system.
Yeah, it is a carbohydrate sugar.
Yeah.
And pop is a carbohydrate too. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's very close to the same type principle.
Sure. But it is literally plants and soil are a barter system. They need each other.
Yes.
They need each other to survive.
Yep.
So like Ben said, the plant sends out a call for I am at this point in my growing, I need potassium. It sends out a potassium call. The microbes that work in the potassium sector, it's getting very corporate, go out and sequester potassium in your soils. If you have low microbial activity in your soil, you are going to have lack of potassium in your plants because you do not have the workers to convert potassium in soil.
Hence the 100-year degradation of nutrition.
Correct. But so that's why fertilizer isn't always the answer. In fact, very oftentimes it is a big problem. Guys think, if 100 pounds is good, 200 is better. If 200 is better, 300 is great.
Yep.
And when actually you might just be throwing tons of money away. We see this all the time in agriculture.
Yeah.
And so it's starting with your soil microbial activity, your soil health. Healthier your soil, the more efficient you're going to have, more efficient of a whole network you're going to have to improve your plant nutrition. Healthier plants, healthier deer, better chance to reach really, an antler development, it's max antler potential. Because you see an animal that gets stressed real bad, you see an animal get hit by a car that makes it, or get hit by an arrow and survives. You see, or they see it out west in drought years where, elk, if there's a drought year, their antlers reduce in size drastically. If you get good rainfall out west, I know a lot of elk hunters. They'll literally talk about, man, we had great rainfall. It added 30 inches to the bulls this year, 40 inches.
Yeah.
These big swings. So if we can mitigate stress on the deer through proper nutrition, it really can help. And I'm not going to get into, there's a lot of guys that know a lot more about the diseases in animals in regards to humics. There's some really cool whitetail farms that are doing some really cool work with humics in regards to that. That's not what we're here to talk about. Those guys know what they're talking. Those guys with PhDs that are very, very knowledgeable about this. But humic has the ability to absorb toxins. Would you say colloid them? Which basically means
that's probably a good way to put it.
Yeah, and hold it.
Absorb it. It's a colloiding agent, but that's essentially what it means. It's just sponge.
Yeah, so so many times we have toxic levels of things in our soils, or high levels, imbalances is what we call them in agriculture. Humic helps balance your structure and bring balance back. So oftentimes what we see is if we have an excess of one thing and a lack in another thing, if we can lower the excess, whatever we're deficient in actually begins to self-correct.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Yeah.
A lot of instances. So anyway, let's see. I'm sitting here looking at my notes I wrote down on the marker board, but how does it have a fit for the land manager? So in agriculture, we're putting on good soil, we're actually putting less humic on. Because good soil is already good soil.
Good soil already has higher natural reservoirs or buildups of humic in it
Yes.
already. Or
Are you going to
human.
hurt good soil by putting humic
No,
on?
you're not. Now there is a toxicity level. We do know it's really close to 26 tons per acre,
26 tons.
which is half a semi load on 1 acre.
Yes.
So you're talking a half inch all the way across.
Yeah.
Or maybe a little less than that, but solid.
Yep.
So there is a way. It's extremely not cost effective on any standard. So
that would be wild.
Yeah,
that would be wild.
Yeah,
I'm applying. So what I do on my operation, and you on your operation, we're applying 150 to. I mean, you can go as high as you want to go.
we have
to a degree.
trials out 600, 700, 800 acre or pounds an acre.
Yeah.
Treating very, very severe situations. Seen it in the past, it works really well. So there is something, if it's in rough shape, that you can get really excessive with it. But like I said,
I'm doing 100 to 300 pounds. 100 to 300 pounds would be my average.
Yeah, you can do a bunch.
And I'm doing that on my food plots. I'm doing that every other year.
Yeah.
And then with every planting, I'm putting on 50 to 100 pounds.
Yeah.
In my food plots, I take my food plots very, very seriously, and my soil health even more seriously.
Yeah. It's kind of like the last spring. We were cleaning out humic tanks and everything else, and Josh out there with the fire hose
I had a 2-inch transfer pump.
Yeah, just spraying it
foam and just fogging this food plot.
And it was fine.
And it was good. Yeah, absolutely. No, I did. I did a little test spot. Could I kill this spot? Anyway, I didn't.
Yeah.
But
it's very safe.
It is a very safe product.
It is very safe for you.
Yeah. It's dirty.
It is very dirty.
You get on your hands, it's just like charcoal. Washes right off. It's not toxic. It's actually good for you.
It's softer than charcoal, but so it's more like dirt, but a dirt that doesn't just dust off.
Right. Don eats a humic capsule, and I eat humic. You eat humic. Yep. We're not telling people what to do.
And then when we say
do your own research.
When we eat humic, we actually eat the stuff that literally comes out of the bag.
I eat it out of the bag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very small amount is what I do.
We've got guys in the company that eat it too. So
yeah, feeding it to livestock.
Yeah, it does have a lot of potential uses, but like you said, that's not something we tell people to do. That's something that they've done on their own, researched their own, and come up with that conclusion.
Yeah, we're in the dirt side. We're in the dirt side.
Right, but the point of the whole talk is that it is extremely safe.
Yes, I add it to my deer feed.
Yeah.
That's a personal decision I made based off of research done by other people in the deer world.
Yep.
Anyway, so yeah. I think that's, I mean, like I said, I'm putting on 100 to 300 pounds. Like you said, we put hundreds of pounds on some spots. Depends on what your budget is. What do you want to spend?
Yep.
And don't think that in agriculture, we have to scale this thing. We have to keep, cost ever mindful, because in agriculture, your markets are going up and down. Right now, they're going down. But humic is one of the last things I'm going to cut because I see the benefits of my soil. I've cut my nitrogen use by about 40 to 50% in a lot of instances on my wheat, my corn, beans. I have cut all dry spread fertilizer out of my bean program. I'm doing some in-furrow liquid applications. But anyway, that's personally what I'm doing after doing a lot of our whole company does lots and lots of testing every single year.
Yeah.
In different instances, different soils. But the poorer the soil, generally the more humic shines.
Yeah.
I apply more humic to my poorer soils than I do my good soils. And I see better response that way.
Yep.
But yeah, that's kind of the overview we just wanted to do for you guys. I think we've got a lot more we talk about on our normal weekly podcast. We're going to be putting out some more information on the wildlife side as time progresses. I'm on Instagram if you want to, follow along what I do in regards to food plots and agriculture and that correlation. But anyway, and Don has taken this approach as well, and he's Don. One thing with Don is he watches and he learns a lot like you. Ben's an observationalist. He sits and he watches people and he watches what they do and bases his decisions off of observation.
Yep.
But anyway, good stuff. Cool.
For sure.
Anything else?
I think that gets it.
All right. That's Deer and Humic 101. See you later.
Catch you later.